Hey, and welcome to another week of Brandon Tells the Damn Truth. First, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Eric Streed for all of the awesome suggestions that he gave after the last show. It helps having a friend who's a genius who got his PhD from MIT and his advisor won the Nobel Prize based on their research. Who's also cool enough to take a minute out of his research to give an old friend a helping hand. I only hope that Allison gives him as much hell as he gives me. That's a loving wish to you, Dr. Eric Streed. Today I'm going to do this video scripted. Since I'm not half as cool as Rachel Maddow, I don't have a teleprompter. We're going to work on that, as I get a little more famous. If anybody out there in the world wants to donate a teleprompter, one of those cool, clear ones, that Obama uses, that'd be awesome. I'll give you my address. You can send it to me. As we move into another week, the world seems to be heading towards a shit show showdown of biblical proportions. As I predicted last week, the good people of Wisconsin are mad as hell and about to monkey stomp the Republican legislators that succeeded through shenanigans and shadiness to strip collective bargaining rights from state employee unions. Recall efforts are underway for 8 Republicans, and to be fair, there are also recall efforts against 8 Democrats, but there's no momentum behind that Republican-led effort. Wonks the nation over saying that the folks on the ground in Wisconsin will have no problem collecting the 15,000 signatures in each district that are required to institute a recall election for legislators. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that folks are lining up to sign those petitions, and if they could sign twice, like using their foot, they'd probably figure out how to do that. The day after the Republicans passed their bullcrap measure, the largest rally of all took place in Madison, and there are no signs that momentum is slowing. The Republicans thought that this would be a way to keep Wisconsin from going to Obama in 2012, and let me tell my fellow Wisconsin right-wing Americans, your political calculus was more like third-grade division. And if you country conservative reactionaries had studied your history for even a moment, particularly your own GOP history, you would know that the best way to lose an election is to give the opposition something to unify and rally them. Enjoy your short-lived victory. In Michigan and Pennsylvania, you better pay attention, because you will lose those 8 Republican Senate seats, which will shift the balance of power in Wisconsin, especially when the House recall elections get underway. And Scott Walker, come January, you had best have a new job lined up. I want to send a shout-out to all the folks locally and nationally that have rallied around Wisconsin, that have traveled to Wisconsin on their own dime to support the efforts there to defend democracy. Another world is possible, and I'm always mightily thankful when the cantankerous conservatives go right on ahead and help us out by lighting some nitrous under our behinds to help us move that universal arc towards justice ahead a little bit faster. Secondly, this week, I want to say that my heart goes out to the people of Japan, as well as to those communities in California and around the Pacific Rim that have been physically and/or economically devastated by the tsunami that hit last week. The loss to Japan has been catastrophic, though far less than the 2004 tsunami that hit the Indian Ocean, though due to man's preoccupation with unsafe, unstable, reckless atomic energy, the eventual outcome of this natural disaster could be worse than the worst atomic disaster since Hiroshima and Nagasaki. One would think that the nation that suffered the only atomic attacks in the world would have done just about anything to find ways to provide for their energy needs without resorting to the type of deadly and crippling energy that was once used as a weapon against their own people. But greed breeds stupidity, and Japan's meteoric rise to a world economic superpower after World War II was fueled by the very same uranium rods that are now on the verge of melting down and creating a new generation of massive deaths due to cancer and radiation poisoning. Every morning I wake up to read about the heroic individuals that have stayed behind to try and cool down the reactors even while the explosions continue and more radiation is leaked into the atmosphere. The end result is that these individuals will either lose their lives suddenly or through long and slow cancerous deaths. The energy lobby will successfully convince the rest of the world that this was just a fluke and that it can be avoided by building stronger, bigger, faster nuclear reactors with thicker walls, and we can continue to build the very thing that is most likely to be the end of mankind. And let me be clear, it will be the end of mankind and not the Earth. We do not have the power to kill or even harm for any significant amount of time our big green and blue mother, but we do have the ability to make her inhospitable enough that we won't survive. And ladies and gentlemen, the earthquakes, tsunamis, freak tornadoes, massive super hurricanes, mudslides, and devastating volcanic explosions are Big Mama's way of telling us that, number 1, she's pissed off, number 2, she's waking up, and number 3, she's getting ready to hand out universal ass whoopings to each and every one of us. To quote my own mother, Gaia is tapping her foot, taking off her belt, and saying quite loudly, "Try me. Keep it up, here." That's it for this week's Brandon Tells the Damn Truth. Thanks for tuning in to this Not Your Mama's News Source production, and we'll talk soon. Have a great week. Bye-bye.